Tuesday morning after breakfast. Nathaniel has asked us all to meet in the main lobby to discuss last night's incident. I'm not sure Bradley knows what happened at all, but the other two looked worried. What has Linz told them? Linds and Rafael aren't here yet. We're waiting for them. The grand lobby, so impressive when I first saw it days ago. Now, in this room, I can't help thinking about the force field that forms the bars of my prison. It's hardly there at all. There's a distortion, but you can see through it. But despite that, it's completely impassable. That could be a kind of psychological torture. If there was something you wanted more than anything else in the world, separated from you by nothing more than a soapscreen bubble, but you couldn't quite grasp it. There's no one thing that I would want so badly. There's only everything. Freedom, my future, my opportunities, my choices. My whole life is waiting out there for me to get back to it. Funny how everything looks a lot like nothing. Aha, they're here.
As most of you know, there was some difficulty with the power systems last night. The secondary generators compensated and there was no data loss. However, it's clear that the power demands are slightly higher than anticipated. It is important that we minimize consumption in order to prevent an overload. Therefore, we must disable the air conditioning and water heater.
How does this affect the force fields?
It doesn't. Yet.
Please, don't get upset. Should I be upset?
He stares at me. I don't know anything. He noticed this time.
Janet, why aren't you saying anything? What's going on?
Does she know?
Know what?
Why don't you stop dancing around the subject and just tell him? If he knew what you were doing, he'd agree with you.
Janet.
Listen, Bradley. Albin's sister is sick. Very sick. So they've made up a hospital room in the basement and Linz is trying to help her.
What?
That's why they don't want us messing around down there. That's why they won't turn off the power to try to fix the force fields. To save Bianca's life. He was like so shocked for such a long time there.
I had no idea. It was none of your business.
When we don't know what's going on, we're more likely to worry and invent bizarre theories and cause trouble, you know?
Which is why I was about to tell him, but someone jumped the gun.
You were taking too long.
How come Janet knew?
No reason. I went down with Linz last night during the power outage, so I saw the lab.
May I see? Just to verify this story.
You don't believe me? It should be okay as long as he promises not to touch anything, right?
If you hurt her, I will kill you very slowly. I wouldn't expect anything less. Or else.
Boys.
Then follow me.
Together we descend the stairs into the basement, so we still go down. Interesting. Knowing what to expect, I can keep my eyes on Bradley as we enter. He stares wide-eyed as we all hang back around the edges of the room.
Is she in a coma?
Not exactly. At the moment, she is neither alive nor dead, but in a state where she might potentially become either. A situation which will be altered when the procedure is complete.
And that's the experiment that's been counting down. This thing you're doing, it finishes tomorrow?
That is correct.
She looks like a sleeping princess in a fairy tale, the prisoner of a witch's curse trapped between life and death.
What happens then? Her spirit comes back, or is lost forever.
Which is why it is imperative that the procedure is not interrupted.
You've seen what you needed to see, now get out of here. I don't want you hovering over her. Can she hear us? No, she is not there now. I just wanted to wish her well. Bianca will not remember, but we will. Let us go.
Quietly, we file out of the experimental chamber, up the stairs, and back to the mansion proper. Nathaniel leads us to the sitting room and gestures for everyone to make themselves comfortable on the chairs and sofas. He remains standing, his fingertips lingering over the curves of the candlesticks atop the fireplace. The sunlight through the window should be a pleasant relief on the unnatural environment of the laboratory below. But even here, if you look closely enough, you can see the patterns of the force field crawling across the glass.
I am sorry if the secrecy caused you any distress. I understand how you must have felt, but I wish you told us from the beginning. What possible reason would there have been to trust you? Why would we have wanted to hurt your sister?
Albin scoffs.
I don't know about your universe, but here this sort of experiment happens to be illegal. Not to mention potentially lucrative if information came to the right hands.
You thought we were spies?
Your arrival did seem rather coincidentally timed.
Now that you know, you understand why it's important to control our power usage, and why we may all be rather distracted for the next 30 hours or so.
Yes, of course. And with that, the gathering dissolves. As everyone heads off in their separate directions, I tail after Linz, still. I find him in the kitchen making coffee. This experiment, how dangerous is it?
To us or to Bianca?
Both, either.
Well, since it's never been done before, it's impossible to be sure. All readings indicate that the procedure is strongly affecting Bianca's ethereal signature. The complete discharge should definitely have results. I simply don't know what those results will be.
She could still die.
It's quite likely that she will. However, if we had done nothing, she would certainly have died anyway.
That doesn't sound reassuring. Nathaniel and Albin, do they know this might not work?
Of course.
What about the risk to us, then?
Completely unquantifiable. We aren't meant to be affected at all, but we may be. Who knows? The only side effect reaching the rest of us at the moment is these mysterious force fields, and they don't appear to cause any harm.
So it's a completely untested and very illegal medical procedure being carried out in secrecy by a mad scientist who has no idea what it will do. Do you often do things this crazy? This is not proper medical research.
Nothing ventured, nothing gained.
He takes a sip of his coffee, then rapidly sucks in air to cool the mouthful.
But to answer your question, yes, I have often carried out frontline research. Life is fleeting. You take what you can when you can. Actually, I am surprised at you, Janet. You know that I have access to certain superior technologies and drugs that your world has not invented. Yet you have made no attempt to acquire them. What sort of medical student are you?
I'm not a med student.
Well, not officially yet, but that hardly matters.
You don't understand. All my life, my parents wanted me to be a doctor. Not because of anything about me, but because that's what all parents in their social circles want. Doctor, lawyer, politician, MBA, but especially doctor. It's not just the money, it's the status. It's the most respectable job there is. My parents sent me to the best prep school in town, even though it was a religious school and we're not Christian. They expected me to go to an Ivy. That is, to one of the oldest and most prestigious universities in my country. Then med school. Then doctor.
This isn't what you wanted.
I don't know. I think I wanted it for the same reasons they did. Status, showing off. Not because I really wanted to have people's lives in my hands. I always had good grades, and I knew I was smarter than my classmates, so I thought I had it in the bag. Then I failed.
You failed a class?
No, never! I failed to get accepted to an Ivy. My application wasn't well-rounded enough. I didn't have sports and clubs and hobbies because I didn't have friends. Brook is a nice school, but no one's ever heard of it except because of how pretty the campus is. I mean, it's not bad. Plenty of people go on to med school from Brook. It's just not impressive in the way my parents wanted. They were very disappointed.
I see.
And that made me think about what I really wanted. Which, I don't know, actually. I want to learn things, as much as I possibly can. But I don't really want to be a doctor. I just hate letting my parents down. Finally, I stop babbling and see the expression on his face. What's wrong? Oh, that struck a nerve. Interesting.
Nothing. Parents.
Your parents aren't happy with your line of work?
They don't have the ability to be. They're dead. At least, I assume so. Since I never knew who my father was, I can't be sure.
I'm sorry.
No need. Parents cause everyone trouble. Which is why I will never have children. More than enough people have reason to hate me as it is.
Well, that was one of the more interesting conversations in the game. Way more backstory on Janet, and some insight into Linz's character. I like that. Music stopped. Is it Rafael coming in? I hear footsteps behind me as someone else enters the room. Yep.
There you are.
He looks at the cup in Linz's hand.
Is that all you're having for breakfast?
No.
Oh.
Rafael shakes his head and begins putting together a proper meal. Linz simply watches, a faintly wistful expression on his face. They're not dating. They're not master and servant. They're not related. I don't understand what it is between them. If I had memories of Raphael's root, I'd understand a little better. I suppose I should get out of your way.
I can cook for you too. I really don't mind.
But what could I do for you in return?
Help me keep an eye on Linz?
Should I run twice as fast to ensure there's enough work to go around?
I don't think that's necessary. Maybe it's not such a mystery. Maybe they're just friends. It's nice to have friends. Right? His angel.
E.
No E.
A.
1A.
I.
Yes, 2 eyes. And 2 eyes.
After dinner, we all tried to think of entertaining ways to pass the time and keep our minds off things. Albin suggested poker, but that requires stakes to bet with. Raphael doesn't approve of gambling anyway. Charades was obviously useless because we don't share a common popular culture. I've never heard of any of their books or movies. At the moment, we're playing their universe's version of Hangman without the hanging. The word so far is that. Hold on. No, it still could be ravish. I was wondering if the word might change this time around, but I don't know why I thought that. There's an I near the end with 2 letters after it. That could be an ing. How about N? We add the N and then the G, which leaves us with that. That didn't really help.
S. R.
Linz nods and updates to that.
T.
No.
I'm pretty sure there aren't any more vowels. It's gotta be something that goes with S. L? M? P?
Cold as ice.
Perhaps H. The H is added. Oh! Ravishing.
Indeed.
Oh! That changed. Maybe later. No one picked up on that one.
I don't understand why such an innocent game is all about death in your world. Well, it's a kid's game, right? And kids like to joke about death a lot.
And sing terrible songs about murdering their teachers and burning down their schools.
They're awful. Children say such things.
Never underestimate the viciousness of a small child.
Never let them out of your sight. Not all children are vicious. But yes, they do tell horrible jokes at school. And play nasty pranks. Like what? Tax on seats. Debagging.
Kick me signs.
Tying people's feet together.
Poison.
Poison?
Generally without success, but they do try.
Nathaniel shakes his head.
Even girls do these things.
If they don't like you, Or sometimes even if they do, if they think it's funny.
Young people don't understand the damage that they can do. They're used to broken things getting fixed. They don't see the harm.
Or they just don't care. Plenty of kids don't care about anything but themselves. Most of them grow out of it as they grow up.
Once you've lost something, once you have something to regret and know the pain, you think harder about the pain you cause to others.
Or you learn to live without regret. Another game, anyone?
Any further ravishing to be had? Question mark. It's late. I should be getting to bed shortly. I just can't relax. There's less than 24 hours to go before Linz's experiment concludes. Tomorrow, he creates the energy pulse designed to drag a departed soul back into its barely living body. At least, so he says. In terms of science, as I know it, I believe he's trying to jumpstart the failing electrical systems of a damaged brain. It could work, or it could destroy what tissue is left. Even though they know the risks, can Nathaniel and Albin avoid blaming Linz if it all goes wrong? I don't know if I could bring myself to throw that switch. To kill someone, even if I was trying to help them. How do you go on after that? I'm not a religious person. That doesn't mean I'm an atheist either. I don't know what's really out there. Maybe there is a God. Maybe there is somewhere we go after we die. Maybe my ancestors were right and our souls are reborn in new bodies until we transcend our desire for earthly pleasures. Or maybe the earthly pleasures are all we'll ever have, and once it's over, it's over. Whoa.
Janet!
Rafael runs up to me and grabs hold of my hands. It's been a while.
Please, come. I need your help.
What is it? What's wrong? So this happens again. Interesting.
It's Linz. He fell.
His hand on my arm is warm and damp as he guides me along.
He took something more than alcohol, and he was wandering around and he fell down the stairs to the basement. I can't tell if he's alright, and I don't know if it's safe for him to move. And you're the closest thing we have to a doctor otherwise.
I don't know what's happened, but it doesn't sound good. He could have broken bones, or be unconscious, or worse. I love that angle. To my relief, I see Linz sitting on the landing, leaning against the wall. His eyes are open, and there's nothing obviously bent the wrong way. What happened to you?
Fell. Hit my head. But I'm fine.
His speech does sound a bit slurred, though. Let me look. His pupils are somewhat dilated, but they're equal in size, which would rule out the worst possibilities. I poke at his fingers and feet. Feel that?
That's not how I want to touch.
But can you feel it?
Yes.
How many fingers am I holding up?
2.
Who's the president?
President of what?
Oh, right. Who's the Prime Minister of Atlanta?
Ferraro.
Did you black out at all when you fell?
Maybe just a second, but I'm fine.
Is he okay?
I think he's just drunk. Or high, or whatever. I can't see any obvious problems. But I'm not a doctor, you know. I can't be sure.
Wanna play, doctor?
Hush, you. What's he on, anyway? Allergy meds? Surely he knows better than to mix antihistamines and alcohol.
It's something he makes himself.
You're on designer drugs? Don't you know how dangerous that is?
I'm a chemist. Experiments.
The doctor who treats himself has a fool for a patient.
What about taste your own medicine?
It's not safe. You could fry your brain.
I cook safe drugs. No problems.
You fell down the stairs.
Please. What do we do now?
Well, he did hit his head and possibly black out, and he's clearly not himself. The best thing I can suggest is to give him some water, get him to bed, and check him every hour or so to be sure he can still wake up and know his name.
You want to go to bed with me again?
I roll my eyes. Come on, you get his other side. We can't let him fall and hit his head again. Who knows what we might end up with.
Right.
Together, Rafael and I support Linz up the stairs. And into bed.
There's nothing wrong. I'm fine.
You rest. I turn to Rafael. Wake him up every hour or two and make sure his brain is still operating.
Me? But aren't you staying?
It's late. I was planning on going to bed. If I stay here to look after Linz, I won't get any sleep. I thought you were a restless girl. Should Janet stay? Of course Janet should stay. What kind of a dumb question is that? Yes. Raphael came to me for help. He needs me. Linz needs me. The only reason I'm even thinking of walking away is because I'm angry at Linz for doing this to himself. For making me worry. And pretending not to care is not a mature way to deal with the situation. Of course I'll stay. We turn the lights down so that Linz can rest, then sit on the floor beside the bed. Of course, we have to stay awake ourselves, so we keep talking with our voices low. This is nice. So, how long have you been living with Linz?
A couple of years now, I guess.
What? But I thought you were only 18.
That's right.
Is 16 considered adult in Atlanta?
I'm not from Atlanta. Huh. I was on the streets in Amarillo, and I was sick. Linz took me in because I had nowhere else to go. He took care of me. He saved my life.
Wow.
Why are you surprised? Linz is a good person.
I know that. I surprise myself as I say it, because it's true. Linz is a flirt and a brat and a tease, but he wouldn't harm someone deliberately, or force them to do something they didn't want to do.
He lets me stay with him because he knows what it's like to be alone. His mother died when he was my age, and he doesn't have any other family.
What happened to her?
I think she overdosed on Sopor.
And he still takes drugs?
Not opiates.
What's the difference? Does he do things like this often? Get drunk or drugged up and hurt himself?
He doesn't hurt himself. This was an accident. It was bad luck. It could have happened even if he were sober. He's careful. He always warns me if he's trying something new. He's made himself sick a few times, but never anything serious. And he never gets violent.
But he does this a lot. Why?
Linz takes things to relax and have fun, or to give himself ideas.
What about you? Do you take this stuff?
I don't think it's right for me.
But you let Linz do it.
It's not my place to tell him what to do. He knows what's right for him. I just wish...
What?
Sometimes I wish he wouldn't bring so many different people home.
To bed, you mean?
Yes, that. Linz meets a lot of strange people. Some of them are nice, but some are scary. I'm worried he's going to get into trouble someday. He won't look after himself. I have to remind him to eat and sleep. If I didn't clean up after him, he never would. He takes a lot of risky jobs, too. And I love him, and I'm scared that...
You love him?
Not like that. Keep your voice down.
We glance up at the bed, but Linz isn't stirring. I think he's asleep. I hope so, anyway.
Go on about the love. I care about him a lot. He is my angel. He saved me.
But you don't love him that way?
I'm not sure. It doesn't matter anyway. He's not interested. I've seen him flirt with all kinds of people, but never me.
I find it hard to imagine that Linz wouldn't be at least a little bit interested. Raphael's sweet, and caring and incredibly pretty.
I'm not smart enough for him. I never even finished high school. He needs someone like you. You're smart, and you're kind, and you're not into anything dangerous. I'd be happy if he stayed with you.
I'm not sure how I feel about him now, or how he feels about me. I grew up being told that anyone who takes drugs is stupid, or selfish, or suicidal. I don't know if I can get past that. I don't know if I can walk away either. Maybe I should have stuck to my original plan and avoided getting emotionally involved with Linz. Moving swiftly on from that thought, though. So, you two met in El Dorado 2 years ago, and you've been together ever since.
That's right.
Is it allowed for teenagers from one country to live in the other?
Not exactly. Linz made up some papers for me.
He forged documents?
Just a little bit.
You know, if he was willing to risk jail to smuggle you over the border to keep you with him, I'm pretty sure that means he likes having you around.
It wasn't a big deal. He does that sort of thing anyway.
Sounds like a big deal to me.
I'm sure he'll get you and Bradley papers too.
He said he'd help us find a way home to our world. So I might be spending time with Linz while we search, but if we do find the way back, I'll be gone.
Do you think you'll find it?
I don't know. Interesting. And at some point, Rafael fell asleep on the floor, and I don't want to disturb him. It's time to wake Linz for his final check. Brrr.
Oh, you again. I know my name. The year is 1984, and the fourth pluperfect subjunctive tense is entirely irrelevant.
Well, he sounds like himself now.
And as an insomniac at the best of times, I will not be able to get back to sleep.
I fold my arms and glare at him. Too bad about your beauty sleep. I haven't had any sleep at all yet because I had to stay up watching and worrying about you.
I didn't make you do that.
I couldn't just leave you there. You're impossible.
You said you did not want to become a doctor. There are other roles in medicine besides surgery, you know. Nursing or general practice might suit you.
I'm going to bed. Linz swings his feet out of bed and cautiously stands.
I can't sleep, so I may as well escort you.
Whatever. Can't he even say thank you? Are you sure you aren't trying to sneak into my bedroom?
You find my current attire inconspicuous?
Well, no. You need your rest, and so do I. I open the door. Oh, so we didn't get pushed out this time? Interesting. What? Linz, look at this!
You changed your mind.
The force field, once confined to the window's glass, has now crawled into my room and is flickering over the entire surface of the wall. I thought you said the force fields were the result of interactions with the security system and the wiring in the door and window frames. What about that?
It was the best hypothesis I had at the time. I'll need to take some readings before I'll know anything more. You should grab a couple hours sleep while you can.
I can't sleep in here with that.
Sleep in my room, then. I don't have any windows.
What about the others? Should we wake them? Let them know what's happening?
Not until I have more information, or the situation deteriorates. Sleep now. I'll fetch you in a couple of hours.
Can we pick Rafael up off the floor, please? It's early in the morning and I can barely keep my eyes open. I don't feel rested at all. I had terrible nightmares. I was swimming in a black ocean, trying to get away from a whirlpool that was pulling me in. I saw something bright bobbing on the waves, coming towards me, and I thought it might be something I could use to stay afloat and save myself. But when I got closer, I saw that it was Linz, floating dead or unconscious, and then he was swept past me into the whirlpool, dragged under and gone. Yikes! That's a terrifying nightmare. Rafael, Nathaniel, Albin, Bradley, all of them drowned before my eyes, and it was only a matter of time before I would follow. And I woke with a terrible sense of doom hanging over me. Everyone else is still in bed, but that may not last long. We have only a limited amount of time to figure out what to do about this. Here, too, the force field has shrunk inward and is now standing about an inch from the door. And so we're not the last one to come down, or the second to last this time. We're up before everybody. I see you haven't managed to stop its progress. So what's causing this?
I'm still not completely certain. Clearly I was mistaken about the nature of the interference. It must be some sort of ethereal pressure differential relating to the growing potential energy.
Ethereal? Linz waves a hand vaguely.
I'm applying pressure to the universe. The universe is pressing back. Really, one has to expect a few unusual reactions when tampering with the forces of nature. Fires, floods, explosions, hallucinations. These things happen.
It sounds more like magic than science to me, but it's happening, so I can't argue with it at the moment. What's it going to do to us?
The nature of the force fields appears unchanged. Non-damaging resistance. No one will be harmed.
Unless we're crushed between them.
At the current rate of movement, it shouldn't come near the laboratory by the end of the cycle.
It didn't move at all for several days, as far as we could tell. It's not stable. The speed could go up exponentially.
That's possible. I'm more concerned with what will happen to the fields at the moment of activation. They could dissolve on the spot, or explode outwards, or collapse in on themselves. I suppose we'll find out.
That's all you have to say about the risks? We'll find out?
For science! Everyone knew there would be risks.
Maybe Nathaniel and Albin were willing to risk their lives for Bianca, but what about Bradley and me? What about Rafael?
Rafael chose to come here.
He's here because he's in love with you. I'm laying down the harsh truth now, man. You need to know. You can't run away from it this time. We're not having a repeat of that bad ending, alright?
He is grateful to me because I cured his illness and gave him a place to stay.
He loves you. He'd do anything for you.
And I have never taken advantage of that. I've never touched that child.
No, instead you just made him feel like he's not good enough for you. He's not a child anymore.
Then perhaps when this assignment is finished, I should encourage him to move out on his own.
Pretending not to care is not a mature way to deal with your feelings. It doesn't help anything. This experiment has become unpredictable. What will you do if it goes wrong? How will you feel if the smoke clears and Raphael's lying dead on the floor like it happened before?
That won't happen.
You don't know what will happen. I point at the force field. You didn't think that would happen?
And a reaction as strong as that force field proves that I'm onto something. If I save Bianca, this could be the discovery of a lifetime.
But is it worth all our lives? You said that you were irreplaceable, but you're always taking chances. You avoid stable jobs and relationships. You don't take care of yourself. Why are you in such a hurry to burn out?
Isn't it better to go out with a bang? Live fast, die young, leave a beautiful memory.
Isn't it better to leave a lifetime of achievements?
If you live long enough, sooner or later your past will catch up with you.
Then make choices you can live with.
It's a bit late for that.
Then tell someone what your problems are so you can face them together. I care about you. Raphael cares about you. You're not alone. I shake my head. It's your experiment. Only you know how out of control it's getting and whether it's worth it to continue.
If I shut this process down, Bianca will die.
You're supposed to be brilliant, right? Find another way out of this.
In just 13 hours.
That's why we need a miracle worker. Man. She did it. Janet, you talked to him. You got... I believe in this dream. I believe in the dream! Ah, I'm scared! How's this gonna end? Ugh, okay. Water is drunk. Go! All in a bunch, we pelt down the stairs, clawing at the rails to keep from falling. Linz! The force field is collapsing!
Janet, be careful!
He catches my elbows, I stumble.
We need to get inside.
Alvin pulls the door open and holds it so that everyone else can crowd through into the laboratory.
Power levels are still increasing.
The force fields are speeding up out there. We'll be crushed!
Perhaps I should recalculate my risk parameters.
Can you do it or can't you?
With such a powerful reaction, it's clear that something will happen when we engage the plasmonic conduit. There is a substantial chance that it will kill us all.
His hand hovers over a series of controls.
The beta connector's blown loose again. Rafael, reconnect that.
Yes, sir.
3 minutes and counting. But the levels are high enough that we could engage now if necessary, if the fields keep coming.
I swallow hard. This is it then. We're all going to die!
If it doesn't make a difference, then do it now before this gets worse.
Linz hesitates.
Well, what are you waiting for? Linz?
I'm staring at him, and I can't breathe for hoping.
Reaction levels are outside tolerance. I've got to shut it down.
What?
Switching to backup plan.
What backup plan?
I have a better idea for saving Bianca, but first I've got to save us. Executing shutdown sequence.
He did come up with a backup plan. That brilliant, beautiful man! I can't believe it. The experiment was cancelled. The power lights dimmed, then returned to normal. The force fields faded away. It was all over. Sometime later. Slow fading.
So, by preserving the brain pathways, we will theoretically be able to extract Bianca's memories and personality. Once the emulation is viable, it could be implanted into a robotic body. Or many robotic bodies. I'm actually looking forward to when I'll be able to perform the same procedure on myself.
But not before it's tested and safe. Right?
Of course.
And that could take many years.
Well, the extraction and mapping should be done as soon as possible. Solving the uploading problem will require some time. But Bianca will not experience that passage of time. She won't have changed.
But we may have. No, I understand. It is the best option. Even Albin should accept that, eventually. If you don't mind, I'd like to be alone for a while.
Of course. Poor Nathaniel. Nathaniel. We walk up the stairs in silence.
There you are. I was waiting for you.
Which one of us?
Now that the force field's down, I thought you might like to see our world.
That's a good idea.
I should make preparations.
I reach out and grab both of their hands. No, we're having this threesome, whether you want it or not. Because it's I'm the protagonist. I decide what ending I get. Heal both of you. Let's all go together. And as one chain, with me in the center, we walk through the door. So this is the world they live in. The sun is setting. The air is fresh and clean with promises of summer. The future is waiting for us. No Wizard of Oz stuff happened this time. Janet and Bradley never found any trace of the wormhole, or Bradley's sister Susan, or any way back to their home universe. But they were both young and had good friends to help them make a new start. In time, they would forget the world they left behind. Janet decided on a computer science degree at a local university, with special focus on artificial intelligence. Combined with her knowledge of advancements from her universe, she was able to become a well-paid consultant and support herself with only part-time work, devoting the rest of her time to further education and experimentation. She was aided in her pursuit of knowledge by her housemates, Linds and Rafael. Together, they intended to solve the uploading problem. Rather than live to grow old, they could hope to live forever. Conduit. This is only part of the story. I can't believe I freaking called that threesome. Woo! But man, this makes me so worried for Linz's bad ending. Do we have to watch Rafael mourn Linz? Do we have to watch Linz mourn Rafael again? Don't know if my heart can take it. Oh no. I think Linz... Okay, is anyone really surprised? Linz was my favorite. We knew this going in. Linz was gonna end up being my favorite. There's just too much goodness about Linz and his root, and I just so good. Loved everything about it. Alright. Well, I guess that's it for now, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed Linz's root. We've got his bad ending to do, so I guess we'll find out how we get there and how much heartbreak there will be involved. So, maybe I'll see you over there, guys. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, I will see you later.